Aha, we're live. Welcome, everyone. Happy Friday to you. Can't believe it's December. I'm in short sleeves. It's, 80 degrees or something here in Houston. I hope you're having cool weather wherever you are. We're keeping the AC down so we can kind of feel and have put on a sweater and feel like it's winter. And I know it's not official till next week, but hey, okay, if you're scrolling, stop. Because my guest, who I'm going to officially introduce in 1 second here, beautiful, smart entrepreneur, Eleanor Curry, attorney at law, is going to share 3 things you don't want to do in a real estate contract, whether you're buying, selling, flipping, commercial, residential, etc. This gal is a wizard and does what we just coined corrected law, law all day long. So welcome, Eleanor. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Kat. I just love your energy. So any day you call me, I'm happy to hop on just to call. We can just chat like an entrepreneur.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, let's go have coffee or whatever. I don't drink, but
a mocktail.
And that's what attracted me to you, Eleanor. We chatted earlier. This is our 60th episode, by the way. Eleanor marks our 60th episode. Yay. It was your energy, seeing you out there on Facebook and then seeing you, you're not afraid of the camera. I really thought people would be clamoring to join me on this platform. And unfortunately, many people are just not comfortable in front of the camera. And maybe that's a whole course we could teach. Teaching it, right? But it's just, getting over your fears and doing it. Put yourself out there. No one's judging you. And if they are, who cares? Mm-hmm. So anyway, thank you so much, Eleanor. Share with our folks today 3 things that they should avoid when buying or selling real estate. I think we all need to know that.
Yeah. And I think it applies for any real estate contract, right? I have a variety of clients that I service, and sometimes, rarely, it's a real estate contract. Trek does a great job with promulgated forms, but sometimes it's just a contract that they received. They thought everything was on the up and up, and they signed it, and then they had to deal with the consequences later.
Like maybe a partnership, or maybe I guess there's a plethora from business or, solopreneur, entrepreneur, probably not so much individuals. I guess they wouldn't be signing contracts.
Sometimes it is. And that may be the question. So I would say my first thing of what not to do is assume that the contract is what you discussed. We assume that you barter, you negotiate, and then you receive a contract and you think it will be everything that you talked about, plus some, and it will protect you, it will protect them, everyone will be happy.
Oh my gosh. So read your contract, and if your brain wrinkles like mine would, and I used to actually read legal contracts when I was in telecom world, but I just don't have the patience for that anymore. Get assistance. And I'm going to give you a short story where this could have bit me in the butt. Now, in real estate today, they don't put it in contracts anymore. Prepayment penalty when you're purchasing a home. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, when you're looking to pay off a home earlier, or do principal only and things like that, if you have that in there, or you just pay off a loan, you could be penalized. So I purchased a home back in Southern California many moons ago, before I had my real estate license as well. And I didn't read anything, but I knew that one thing. I wanted to make sure there was no prepayment penalty in the contract. So, then, you actually met, we did everything remote, but then we actually met at an office, and I said, show me the place where it says there's no oopsie. Oopsie. Sorry, redo the papers. We'll be back.
Yeah.
But that I just happened to know was on top of mind for me for that. But gosh, how many things could you miss that down the road could really bite you in the butt if you did not read it? So
And that's what I'm saying. You just have to make sure it coordinates. And maybe it's just 5 things that are important to you. And like you did, go back and specifically see where those 5 things that are important that you discussed, where are they in the contract? So don't make the assumption that we agreed to it, it's in the email, it's here. Because when I get the call and when you're thinking about suing someone or when you're in a dispute with someone, I'm going to ask you, what does your contract say? So
that's binding.
Yeah. Right? And lots of those preliminary conversations, people assume it's there. We talked about it. Maybe it's a mistake, but you've signed it. And the law says if you have an opportunity to review it, then that is a mistake that is binding. But maybe sometimes have ill intentions and they've intentionally left things off that aren't in their best benefit. So that's not always the case. But in contracts, why give that some grace, right? Make sure. Don't assume that things that you agreed to or things that you want are actually in your contract. Go double check. And you gave a great example of where you can just say, even if you're not the most sophisticated, analyst of a legal contract, you can say, just show me where that says that.
Yes. And because, when you buy, if the papers were this thick, I'm not going to sit there. They know you're not going to sit there and read everything. So that's a great suggestion, prepare a little bit ahead of time. Think about it's usually the money, the interest, the special stipulations, those things, what those things are that you had a conversation about and that you're assuming are going to be in the contract, any special provisions, etc. Just jot those down and have your processor show you those 4 or 5 things. You should be good to go. I love that. Easy fix. You don't have to be an attorney and read everything. And if you don't have time to do that, of course, you can call Eleanor and she can zip through that very quickly for you. Uncover some other things.
Well, and you could think about it when you were a kid. You remember those matching things where you had to draw a line? It would be like a word and a definition. So just do the match. Whatever it is, make sure you're matching what's important to you on your contract or in the negotiation, because the contract is verbal at first, right? You discuss things and then you formalize it in a written contract. But if you go to sue someone, that written contract is what you guys both will be measured against.
No way of getting out of that.
Yeah.
If it's written.
Oh, it's ways, but they're expensive ways.
So don't let it be an expensive way. You can find, I'm sure that's your job when it gets sticky, is to finding loopholes, for ill intention or, I don't know, in this is probably off topic, but isn't Texas, because I'm originally from SoCal, been here for 20 years, but isn't Texas verbal agreements are binding?
Verbal agreements are binding in every state, but if you have a verbal agreement and then you follow back with a written agreement and the written agreement has certain terms, you can cancel out some of the terms in that verbal agreement with the later signed written agreement.
So be careful what's written. Awesome. So let's move on to number 2. What's a second thing that you run across that you think is really important that folks need to be aware of?
I think that folks often are great at the 5 W's of contracts, right? The who, what, where, why. They are great at that. But people don't think about the what ifs. Right. And that's what a contract is really there to protect you against. So don't skip the what ifs. And the what ifs are when things don't go right. We don't have to have rose-colored glasses on when it comes to contracts, right? You want things to go right. Sometimes you're in contracts with family members or people you like or people you've worked with before. But you have to ask those what ifs. And that's where a contract can be powerful for you. So what if COVID pops back up, right? That would, or what if some big interruption in Texas, a hurricane, a snowstorm, you can name 20 things that might happen any given day.
And wow, that's interesting that you bring that up, because wow, you could have 50 pages of what ifs, Eleanor. I mean, I know as a business owner, we've tweaked our agreements, as things pop up and you go, oh, okay, better add that. Oh, what if somebody steals something? Oh, what if it floods? Oh, what if, the house isn't ready when I get there? A lot of what ifs, and you're just like, wow. and I'm sure there's more that I don't even have in there.
Yeah, and you don't have to let it be a run and rain train, but certainly experience will teach you some things that you need to have as a what if. You run into the problem, you run into a business interruption, go back and, refine your contract to say, how would I want to deal with that? But there's certainly things that, are very unlikely to happen, but lots of things that are more unlikely to happen. In contracts that involve money or delivery of a service, what if that doesn't happen? If at the very least, what if our best intentions fail for whatever reason? It doesn't have to be malice, like somebody intentionally trying to do something. But what if they don't deliver as promised?
Right.
Do you get your money back? Do you get to sue them for the whole cost of the project? If nothing else, they need to answer that. What if the product or service or the agreement we're making doesn't happen?
Right.
And I see far too many contracts that don't even answer that first what if.
That have anything. And that's, as a small business owner, of course I have the leverage and the flexibility if I want to be lenient, on those what ifs, which I have, with clients say, okay, well, typically there would be a whatever, rush fee or cancellation fee or not ready fee or whatever of this. I'm going to either waive that or do partial or whatever, you have, but at least it's in there and they know, up front, like we have a weather permitting, we will deliver and install on this date, weather permitting. We own the right to say, okay, after a higher percentage chance of rain, we're not going to compromise your property or my help or our furnishings, or et cetera. So yeah, I think having it in though is important. And then you can, as an individual or as a small company, then you can compromise or adjust as needed.
Yeah, and it's about setting those expectations. That's what you want in any great contract, any great agreement. They understand what's going to happen if this doesn't work, and you understand it. So if nothing else, even if it isn't to avoid litigation or to worry about who will get paid when, why, and how, it makes them a more loyal, avid supporter of you and your business. They can say bad things can happen, detours happen, we're human, and this is life, right? So things usually don't happen perfectly, but when people know that you've anticipated it, you seem very professional, they don't think you're doing something just for them or you're being mean to them, but that's just your policy. They still want to share what you've done well with other people as opposed to sharing a bad experience. And we know now with how closely connected everyone is that one bad share of your product or service can be really detrimental to your business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, it's not, it's not really in life, in business particularly, but in life, it's not what happens. There's nothing perfect because we're humans and we're having the human experience in life that can be volatile and changing. So stuff will happen. It's how do we respond to it? And I think that's what, you made a point. That's what our clients are going to remember is, not what happened, but how did they respond to it?
Yeah.
And I think that clients respect you for having professional policies. And I use that all the time. Well, it is my professional policy. Let me tell you how I work. And this is my professional policy. It's not I want, or I'm going to, it's, and I think it does lay the platform for that respect and that you do have professional policies. And then they can make an informed decision whether they want to do business with you or not based on your professional policies. And when you do that, I think just as in life, you attract your soul tribe, if you will. The people who know, like, trust you and revere what you do and respect what you do.
Yeah. And I think it's funny as entrepreneurs, so often when we start, we're just whoever wants to, meet me where I am. I want that kind of customer. And the true sign of growth to me is when you are as reflective on who you're choosing as a customer as they are as who they're choosing as a vendor or provider.
Absolutely.
I want us to mesh.
What's that?
I want me and my clients to mesh. I don't want to be, someone that they don't enjoy speaking to or working with. Because I want to like to work with you.
Absolutely. Life's too short. Yeah, you want that symbiotic relationship, so that you're giving is received, and it's dynamic. I've had in my 10 years now had to say, you know what, we're just not a good fit. Mm-hmm. Let me refer you.
That's okay.
And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. Like for our design clients, I have similar to this a Zoom call, and we do what I call a complimentary discovery call. Mm-hmm. Find out a little bit more about their project and see if we're a good fit. Not only from the logistics of, can I provide you what you're looking for and help you, create your vision, but is there a connection from a personality or mesh? Do we mesh? Am I going to enjoy working with this person? And so I think that's so important. Yeah. That you do, and that's okay if you don't. Yeah.
You're right. Life is short. Enjoy what you can. We have to go to work, so enjoy.
It frees up. It frees up that space for that perfect client to come back, to come into your life and for you to help them. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I know we all resonate who started out. It's like, we'll take anything, and then you learn like the contract, you learn like, okay, I think I need to fire them.
Right. Get me out of here.
Yeah, rather than have to fire them, just be more selective. I think that's perfect. So the what ifs. So what's a good exercise for folks in all kinds of businesses or situations where they would have a contract? What's kind of an exercise for them to for the first time to come up with these what ifs? Well, having to learn it the hard way.
Right. I think, this is an opportunity for you to tap a little bit into your anxiety. So if there are things that what you are most afraid about, answer in that contract. What if they don't pay? What if they don't deliver? And then, what if I have to sue them? Or if it's an employee, what if I have to terminate them and I have to hire a new employee? So just tap into what would be the worst things that can happen. And even if it's just a list of 3 things, answer that what if in your contract.
I like that. Tap into your anxiety, the what ifs, like, and just go down there. And like you said, it doesn't have to be a whole laundry list, but what are the top 3 or top 5 or whatever, and include those.
And they may be about you too, right? Yeah. What if I can't deliver? And so sometimes you're thinking about things that you will hold against someone else, but lots of times contracts go both ways, right? So you're thinking about things that will be held against you. So that what if may be some extra protection, maybe, as you mentioned, okay, I'm going to deliver on the 13th, but if there's inclement weather, that time may be pushed back. And, so you will be held against that 13th, and you're thinking of your own what if. So it doesn't always have to be negative.
I like that. It goes both ways. And, and it's all about what you said earlier, Eleanor, setting expectations. And I think that's where a lot of us fall short, is we just assume, we think someone's in our head or knows our business. And we just need to take a step back and really outline everything to set the proper expectations. And I think, we're given grace when we do that, because potential clients and clients do see that we're trying to cover all the bases, set them up for success, instill our professional policies to help facilitate, a really, a great experience with the client.
Yeah. And when you're the professional, like it or not, they're going to hold that you up to that standard. They may say, this is my first time having my house designed, for instance, so I'm not aware of all the hiccups that could come up, or how delicate it is to deliver the furniture, or even who's liable for the furniture before it enters my home, right? Lots of these things they don't know. So as a provider, you have more time to imagine, all the good things that can happen and the bad things. So take some time to tap into that. And when people come to me for a contract, I always say, it's my goal to memorialize what you want, right? And so the best contracts, if you just leave it to me, I'm a lawyer, I may not know your industry, I'm typing and it sounds good, but it may not have the heart that you need it to have. as much different than when you bring, hey, these are things that I want to go right. These are the things that could go wrong. Help me help myself and my client to make this a strong contract.
I love that. I love that. That's great insight, Eleanor. It reminded me, back in the day when I was in new home sales and oftentimes working with first-time home buyers. And yeah, I used to say, okay, there's a lot of moving parts and pieces, a lot of pieces to the puzzle. Think of me as your puzzle master. I'm going to take you through every piece and put it all together. So oftentimes I think in our businesses, whatever the businesses are, we need to ask the questions, and I'm guilty of this. I don't always, but I try to integrate it. Have you ever used a designer? Have you ever used tell me about your experience. Information is power.
Yeah.
This is powerful information that you're sharing with us today, Eleanor. And I think if we can step back and ask that question, that will arm and empower us to know, okay, you may have never known. Well, I had a horrible issue. They never returned their phone calls, or whatever the thing is. Okay, you're taking notes. Okay,
yeah,
on what their experience is, and it helps equip you to make it a better experience for them in your dealing with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely think that knowledge is power, but information is information, and we have an information overload. To make it knowledge, you have to apply it. Yes. So it's one thing to ask the question, but apply that in how you speak to them or how you approach them or what information you're providing to them. Maybe you take the extra step with someone who it's their first experience. That's how it becomes applicable, and that's how it becomes meaningful in your interaction with them.
Absolutely. To gauge whether, how much information they need, how much you need to, outline everything and take them step by step. Is it baby steps? Is it toddler steps? Is it, like that? Do you get a lot of people that are first time dealing with a lawyer?
A lot of people like to avoid lawyers. They think we're expensive. They think we're going to bury them in legal jargon. And, I think most often they think we are not interested in getting the deal done. We're interested in legalities. But I was a broker for, over a decade before I went to law school. So I like deals and I like to get deals done.
Yes. And I saw that on your background. So now are you still active in real estate?
I am still active in real estate.
Okay. So you're still a broker.
Yeah, my first love.
That's your first love. So would you say the majority of your business is buying and selling real estate or law?
It's split, but my firm is more than just me. And so we have support staff, we have other attorneys. So, it gives me the space to help some of my clients, and some of them are combined. Sometimes I'm helping someone find office space, but I'm also negotiating that lease or reviewing that lease. So.
I love that. So you're like double trouble here. Yeah, I think you're the first one I've met. I'm sure they're out there, where they're a realtor, broker / lawyer.
Yeah. So there's a little tribe of us.
Yeah. I like that. It's like me. I keep my real estate license that I started off in real estate. And then I segued into staging, thought it would be a value add, and the staging kind of took off. But I keep my license because it keeps me in front of brokers, realtors, should I be able to help them. But I don't actively pursue it. I just do referrals, friends, family, that kind of thing. But it keeps me on all the emails from them. I have super access. I pay to keep that up to make it a convenience.
That's important.
Yeah, so they don't have to go out to the property on a vacant several times. I got you covered. I've got Supra. Go off and do a closing.
Yeah.
So try to make it easy, for folks to do business with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're intermingled as well. And then of course the staging in the last few years took off. Really increased a lot since the whole COVID shutdown with design and color. So yeah,
and I think most people, in my experience, it's hard for them to imagine things. So having that staging, even if they don't love every detail about it, they can then see that piece change, as opposed to walking to an empty space. That's commercial space too. So when you walk into a commercial space and you try to figure out how it can be your business home, you're like, where would the desk go? Where's my reception area? How many chairs can I fit? So staging or having that space filled is much different than trying to imagine it filled.
It is. And in fact, statistics support that. I think it's 89% of folks who, were polled said they have a very difficult time imagining an empty space. So staging creates emotion, and buyers justify price with emotion.
Yes.
And, it's funny, I've talked about this before, but space, spatial planning is very difficult for folks to imagine, like you said, like size. I had a investor not too long ago. He's like, Kat, we've had this on the market. This was pre-COVID. He says, and people are saying the master bedroom is small. We really need to get it staged. So we typically use a queen mattress to make the space look larger. We put a king in this one because it was so big, but people couldn't see it. I mean, we put a king, 2 nightstands, a bench at the end of the bed, and a high boy, which we don't always use dressers. We'll use like a bench and like a photo or something. Of course, they sold the first week. But just a prime example of how it's distorted in our minds.
Mm-hmm.
We really can't visually space design when something's empty. And our investors are getting savvy to it as well now, because when it has decor and furnishings, it's not empty, and they're not looking at every drawer.
Yeah. Oh, that's another good one.
Yeah, every blemish, because no home is perfect, whether it's new or resale. So that kind of mitigates that. Yeah,
that's another good. I hadn't thought of that, but that's a really good point.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we've got the assume, never assume. I love that. And if you're just tuning in, rewind it or watch it on YouTube in a couple of days, because this is some great tips from Eleanor on contracts, what you should not do when going into a binding contract. So assumption is a big no.
Boom.
Look at the what ifs, and that's from both sides, from you and from your potential client or the person on the other side of the contract. And you can share another one with us?
Yeah. One more. It's to think about the who you're getting into a contract with. And that's not going to do, a background check on who you're entering a contract with. Although for some contractors, you probably want to check if they've been sued before. But it's more just, it can be as basic as lots of times people say, okay, well, there was a default. I want to sue someone. And I look at their contract and I say, well, what's their address? To service them or send them a demand letter, we have to have their address. Oh, it's not there? No, it's not there. We need it. I get this a lot with contractors. People will get someone to do something small in their property, build a fence. But that contract you signed doesn't have his address. Is it a corporation? Is it a LLC? Is it a person individually? And when you ask yourself that question, you at least get your brain rolling on if they have any assets. If everything goes wrong, if you're paying a $20,000 deposit and you never see them again, can you find them?
Eleanor, I have heard too many stories.
Lots of stories
from my clients and colleagues about contractors. I mean, one of them is, it's a realtor that did like 30 million last year, and she's in the investing, and just where they took the money and ran, didn't finish the work and took the money and ran. And so what besides checking that out? And, I think what some people do is they don't, I'm thinking of, repairs, renovations. One of my clients, they had flood in one of their homes we staged last year, and same contractor, took off. And I'm thinking they didn't even have a contract.
Lots of times they don't have a contract. That's true.
Yeah.
But when they do, lots of times it's something printed off online. It'll say someone's name. Is it a business? Is it a person? Do either of those entities, the person, the business, have any assets? So if they take my $20,000, people call me. They call me. They're angry. I want to sue them. And I tell them suing and winning is just one step in the process. You can win a judgment. And if they are judgment proof, meaning they don't have any assets to satisfy the judgment, you won for not. You won for no reason. You
spent the money for nothing. And, I still know that many, many years ago back in SoCal, small claims. I don't know what it's up to now, but it was like 600 something. And I went through the whole thing of small claims suing this person. They didn't have any money. Collecting it is another thing. And I don't even know if they may have had the money, but collecting is different than suing.
And most lawyers will hands off, go find a collector or attorney.
Someone to put a lien on.
Yeah. So do they have a bank account? Do we know the account number? I mean,
So let's back up a little. Let's say someone's looking to hire, a contractor. And what would be their due diligence, and how would you find out? I guess it's an easy Google search to find out, are they a business, an LLC, a C Corp, et cetera. But how do you find out if they have assets, or have they been sued before?
Okay, so you can find out. You can start with the comptroller's office. They'll tell you if they're telling you they have an LLC or they're a business. You can go take a look at that business and see if it's still active, or if it's delinquent, or it's been retired because they haven't filed taxes or something like that. So you can start with the comptroller's office.
Okay, so So start with the comptroller for that.
Start with the comptroller's office, and it'll also give you any address they have. So if you have an address from a card, make sure that all their addresses are coordinated, right? So the address they give you on the contract versus the address on the card, and the address of the Secretary of State or the comptroller's office are all the same.
Okay.
That shows the sign of an established business, right? And then you can go to the Harris County District Clerk's office. That will only tell you if they've been sued in district court, which is over $20,000. But it's a good place to start. And certainly you can also search in small claims court as well. So they just have searchable platforms where you can see if their name comes up. So take a quick look, see if they've been sued before, and the results of that lawsuit. Have they paid out? Did they get a lawsuit? And then, you see a lien on property that they have. So I would say those are the two basic things you can do, just easy steps, but it gives you some confidence you're going into business with the right person. Here's a great example. I've had contractors who say, well, that's my business name, but send it to my personal account. Why?
Why?
So, that's where the confusion comes in, when you're trying to collect on a judgment per se, or you're trying to get a refund, and then you realize, well, the money that you use for your deposit, they spent on another project, or,
Yes. I've heard more stories. At one point I told myself, well, let's get into, buying some properties and flipping. Like, no.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Because, the biggest thing is you need reliable contractors that show up and don't rip you off. It's like, I don't want to go down. I don't want to play in that sandbox.
Yeah, it is. It can be a pretty feisty sandbox.
Yeah. I just don't need that. Awesome, Eleanor. You are just a plethora of wisdom, and I love your smiling face, and I love your energy. How would folks contact you if they needed to get a hold of you for whatever? So for commercial real estate, and or for some law questions.
They can definitely hop over to theclfirm.com. THECLfirm.com, and sign up for a consultation there. We do have 20-minute complimentary consultations that they can sign up for. 20-minute
consultation. I like that. Jeff, if you're on here, my proctor, if you could add that in, because I can't see notes, add that on the stream so folks have it. That would be great.
Yeah, so they can go about that way, or they can find out more about me at eleanorcurry.com.
eleanorcurry.com.
Yes.
I like that too. And if you're on LinkedIn, hopped on LinkedIn, because I see her smiling face all the time.
I'm there every day.
I don't know how you have time to look so beautiful so many times a week.
I record on a couple of days and just share it.
I was going to ask you if you did. You just do it like a wardrobe change, because, gurus in the business have said that, and I've been thinking, I gotta do that, because that makes life so much easier.
Your game face is on, you're ready to go. You've already given yourself the pep talks, and just some days I look homeless, I'll be honest.
Well, thank you. Most days I look homeless, and that's why I'm like, how does she do this? She's all the time looking gorgeous.
No.
Thank you so much, Eleanor, and this will be over to our YouTube channel, Ta-Da by Kat, in 48 hours. If you would like, share this and hop over to YouTube. We normally do a sign off on staying positive, staying hopeful, and stay connected. And I do wish that for everyone out there. Eleanor is our last live guest for the rest of the year. We'll probably hop on Christmas Eve and just wish everybody Christmas Eve, but we'll be doing replays the next 2 weeks because I've got family and grandbaby stuff to do, to eat dinners, things like that. But I want to close today with a message that I found on Instagram. One of my favorite spiritual leaders, Greg Braden, posted this. The original words were from Rachel Marie Martin. And I'm just going to read this to you and wish this to you for the holidays. Just be kind. Please, just be kind, especially during the holidays. Have an extra moment of grace, of understanding, of love. There are so many with stories of loss and struggle and hardship this time of year. And the illusions of the holidays and the perfection and the celebrations can really make the hurt magnified. So just love, smile, more than you think, just smile, step up, hold the door, show up with a meal, and just choose kindness above irritation. Yeah, that one hit me. Choose kindness. And you know what? It's not just about being kind to others. Choose kindness to yourself.
Oh gosh, that's how you're kind. That's how you're really kind to others. Being kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself. A simple act of kind can ripple farther than one ever expects. Love first, and that's what I wish for you all. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Have a joyous, sparkly holiday. Thank you again, Eleanor.
Thank you.
And you have a wonderful holiday, sweetheart.
You too.
Have a great weekend. I'm going to end broadcast and we can stay on here.
Okay.